Hi, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. Pretty important webinar today since we'll be looking at the all new home in Beekast. So, this is a designated space that we're going to be discovering together. It's completely new, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Clara. I am the Marketing and Communication Manager here at Beekast, and I'm super excited to walk you through these changes, especially the new home, but also our support system right here, which we'll be talking a little bit more about as well. We'll be looking into the new help center together. All right. Well, while everyone kind of joins us, I'm going to go ahead and start. Of course, this webinar is being recorded. So if anyone has any needs to like disconnect a little bit earlier, that's not a problem. You'll get access to this replay afterwards once the webinar is finished. All right, well, let's jump right in. So, the first thing that I wanted to show you was the new homepage. And so, for those of you who have been using Beecast for a while now, as you know, this space used to not exist at all. So, before, when you logged into your Beecast account, the very first thing that you saw was all of your sessions displayed usually in the default folder here. So it just kind of looks like this, where you have all of your sessions that appear. And it's a little bit messy because as a new user, for example, it can be quickly overwhelming. You're not seeing every session. Some of you may only be participating in sessions. Then some of you are creating sessions, and everything's just kind of mixed in this kind of default folder in Beecast. And so we used to call it the Beecast workspace, just because that was the first space that you landed on when logging into your account. And it felt a little bit messy. It felt a little confusing for users. And so, what we wanted to do, based on your feedback, but also what our product team has observed, we wanted to create a dedicated space where it would be the first thing that you see when you enter your Bcast account. So, this is what became of that idea. It's the new home space. And so when I go to my home, I now have a very clear view of what I can do in Bcast. I can create sessions from scratch. I can create sessions starting with an activity. I can access recent sessions. This is just a very easy way to see the last 3 sessions that I've opened in the past. And then I also can start with a session template, which helps me save time, right? So let's kind of break this down together, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Help Center. But the homepage has also given a little bit of new meaning to other parts of the overall Bcast account. And so I'll walk you through that as well. We'll talk about the My Participation space, which is a new dedicated space for participants. And then we'll look into what has changed elsewhere. Perfect. So feel free to ask questions in the chat on Livestorm. I'm available, and I'll be checking into that pretty often. So feel free to just let me know if you have a question along the way. So here I am on my homepage. This means that I've just logged into my account, and this is going to be the first dedicated space. This is the first thing you'll see once you've logged in. And this makes it super easy, because if you want to start by just creating a session from scratch, this first button, it's there, it's visible, it's super easy. Just click on the button, and there you have it. You're ready to start creating a session. So here, as you can see, we can change the title. We can kind of see how the session is set up. I can, of course, add my content, import my slides, or just create a new activity. Just your average creation of a session from scratch. Of course, if you want to create a master session, you can do this by clicking here. So for create a session, you'll be creating the standard Bcast session, the one that everyone knows. And if you're interested in creating a master session, this means that you would create a master template session. That session would then be cloned. And all of those little clone sessions can then be played by other facilitators in other groups, other audiences, other teams across your organization, for example. And what's interesting with master sessions is that the clone sessions that have been created are all going to be aggregated. All of the results and participations are being aggregated and fed back into the master session. So this makes it super easy to analyze sessions, recurring sessions. For example, if you have one training that's being shared across a multitude of teams, then you'll be able to have all of those results aggregated in one dashboard, and you can kind of follow along and see which teams are performing the best, which teams are maybe underperforming, people who are lost, and you can kind of do your own little analysis of all of that. We have a dedicated webinar for master clone sessions, so I won't dive too deep into this, but if you're interested, feel free to check out our YouTube channel where we talk a lot more about the master clone feature, which is a pretty new and interesting feature if you're looking for something closer to that use case. So I can create a normal session. I can create a master session by clicking on this button, and then I can also import a session. Now, importing sessions can be super easy, and it can also be pretty useful if you are working with other people from different teams. If they create a really great session and you want to be able to use that session for your own team, for example, then instead of having to ask them for the session and then they would send over the presentation and you'd have to kind of duplicate everything, redo the activities, recreate the content. It's much easier to just ask them for the import code and then put that import code in here, and you'll automatically import their session without all of the participation. So it's just a new session that is ready to be played. And I'll show you right now what this looks like. I actually do have an import code that I can share with you. And so here, as you can tell, I've just entered my import code. And when I click on the import session button, as you can see, I now have all of my activities and content, and my session is just ready to go. And this is a great way to share content across teams and across collaborators. If you have colleagues who saw your session and thought it was great and they want to also try out that session with their own team or with their own colleagues, you can just share the import code by going to settings and just generating the import code and sharing it with them, and then they'll be able to create that session and just kind of duplicate it on their end and play it with their team. So the import code is now here, which makes it super easy to also kind of duplicate sessions and use and share best practices with other members. So we've seen that these three buttons, two of them allowing you to really create sessions from scratch. But what happens when you don't want to create a session from scratch? Maybe sometimes you just want to launch a survey or launch an activity. Well, that's what we did here in the second line, where what we're doing is allowing you to start with an activity. So let's say you just want to launch a quick survey at the end of a meeting. Instead of going in and clicking on create a session and then adding the activity, it's much easier just in one click to just say, okay, well, let's just create an activity in 30 seconds. So here, instead of going and on clicking on creating a session, I'm going to go ahead and click on survey. And with just one click, I am immediately brought into a session with a survey ready to be set up. So now I can go ahead and just ask my question. I can add the choices, and I can do this pretty quickly. It really depends if you already have something in mind, but it allows you to get started even faster when creating a session or just building an activity. Because sometimes you may not want to have to create an entire session with slides and your own content and multiple activities. Sometimes you just want to launch a word cloud, or you just need a quick icebreaker, right? Or you just want to launch a quick poll. And starting with an activity is a great way to do that without having to go through all the hassle of creating an entire presentation. So once that's ready, remember that we now have autosave. So it's super easy. As you can tell, everything has been set up in the center of my screen so I can see in real time what my activity is going to look like. And once I'm happy with it and I've made the edits, I can go ahead and exit and then start the activity. And my participants are ready to join and share their thoughts in this poll. So super nice little update there. We never had this before in Beekast, so it's super exciting to be able to allow our users to not only create from scratch, but or create from a template, but also create starting with a activity. Next, as I've already kind of spoiled you here, but we have the recent sessions. So, recent sessions allow you to see your top three most recent sessions. It's pretty straightforward. This is just a nice way to know from the get go the last three sessions that you've opened or interacted on or played with in the past. So, this is just a really quick view. Usually, if you're working on a session, instead of having to go in all of your files and kind of looking for it or using or the search bar, you know that it'll probably be here if it's been opened recently. And another nice little view here is, as you can tell, the slides, the little cards here to view the session have also evolved. So this is a nice way of knowing exactly how many slides are in a session, how many activities, how many participants, and kind of the mode of the session if we're in a live synchronous session or a self-paced asynchronous session. So that also gives you an idea as well as your role in the session. Here, as you can tell, the past three sessions are sessions in which I am the owner. So these are sessions that I've created, but if I were to be a participant, I would be identified differently. Here, I would be identified as a participant, or let's imagine a collaborator if I've been added by the owner to help collaborate on a session as a facilitator, for example. So having my role appear here is also pretty handy. And if I go and click on these three little dots right here, like I'm showing you on my screen, I will also be able to quickly rename the session. This can be useful instead of entering the session. Is just you can quickly rename it from your homepage. You can also close the session. I highly invite you to close sessions. It's a great way to make sure that you're maintaining security parameters within a session. Sometimes we may have training sessions or meetings that can have confidential information, and you want to make sure that that information is not just staying out in the open. And closing a session is really an extra layer of security that you can have in Bcast. You can also duplicate your session if you want to just save a little time and make sure and just recreate that content in a new session. You can, of course, copy the import code. This is also a super handy way to do this if you're it's much more useful instead of having to go into your session, go to the settings and click on that import code like I just showed you. You can also do this directly from your session. So yeah, just a couple ways of how this has changed as well. And then finally, one of my favorite parts are our new Bcast template sessions. So template sessions are basically, as you can see here, there are sessions where inside each of these sessions, you're going to have about 3 to 4 activities to help you get started. Sometimes we all have that kind of blank page where we're not really sure where to start, not really sure how to create a BCAS session. So, what we wanted to do is create 3 use cases, 3 types of sessions that can really match different types of meetings. So, if you're looking for a short training workshop, we have one that's set up for you. If you're looking for some kind of session to prioritize or do a little bit of project management or planning and prioritizing with your team, then the agile prioritization is definitely a good place to start. And of course, if you're just a manager and you're trying to set up some kind of meeting or team rituals, then the recurring meetings is a great template to get started here. So, for example, if I were to click on recurring meetings, and let's see, there we go. So I actually clicked on training workshop. That's fine. It's the exact same thing. If I am to click on training workshop, you can see that I'll have 4 activities set up and ready to go. I'm going to have the pin on image. This is a little icebreaker to understand where everyone is located today. Then we have a board. This is a great little exercise to kind of understand what your participants know about a topic or what they're hoping to get from this training session. And then, of course, you can create your own quiz. This is a quiz that's created, but it's really ready to be edited and you can go ahead and add your choices. So once again, as you can see, these are activities that are set up and ready to go. It's kind of a plug and play solution, but of course, everything is can be edited. So you can really make it your own, personalize it, add your own little touch to it in order to get a presentation that feels like you and that really makes sense for what you're trying to achieve in Beecast. All right, perfect. Going back to the homepage. So we've kind of talked about everything in this homepage. If you have any questions, feel free. I can see in Livestorm that there aren't any questions right away. But yeah, if anything comes up along the way, I'll be happy to answer. So moving a little bit away from this homepage, another new space that I wanted to direct your attention to is the My Participations. Now, My Participations, when I click on this, is just a space where you've guessed it. All of your participations are going to appear. So, whenever you've joined a session using a QR code, the session link, or the little code on the bcast.live, then you will automatically have your session appear in this space. This just makes it easy as a participant to kind of know which sessions you've been invited to. And that way they can all appear in one dedicated space and you can find them a lot easier. And just wanted to let you know, of course, do not panic. If you actually do want to move some of these sessions around, you absolutely can do that. Just click on those three little dots, and then you can move the session to another file. So this is also another folder, sorry. So this is also super helpful. Your sessions that where you're a participant don't have to stay in your participation space, but it's just handier and a little bit easier in the beginning to manage those different types of sessions. And then just wanted to share, if you were to join a session today, most of you know that in order to join a session, some people, some facilitators and owners will share a QR code so you can scan that and then join from your phone, for example. Others will share the session link. So if you click on that link, you'll be automatically redirected to the BCAS session. But then you also have the session code, and the session code will be shared with you. It's usually, I believe, a 4 or 5 digit code, and when you can enter it directly into this little space right here, and then you'll be automatically click on join a session, and it will redirect you towards the BCAS session. So this is where the My Participation space is officially the new place to be if you're looking to enter a session code. Now, the rest hasn't changed. As always, if you already had folders, sessions, um, personalizations in your workspace, everything is still here. You'll have your default folder, you'll have all of your other folders already created and ready to go. And then, of course, if you wanted to access any sessions that have been deleted in the past, for example, I have my offboarding workflows from the past and I've recently deleted them. I could go ahead and, of course, restore any sessions that I've deleted. So the trash space is very important because nothing is ever completely deleted in your Bcast. As long as it's still in the trash folder, it's still there and it can be restored. Once it's gone from your trash, this takes about 30 days. Once you've deleted a session, it'll be in your trash bin for about 30 days and then it'll officially disappear. So then it's a lot harder to get back because sadly it's been officially deleted from everywhere. And then if you want to create a new folder, you have that button right underneath the trash, which allows you to create new folders and keep storing sessions in any way that you see best. So that's it for kind of the new changes in the Bcast overall workspace. You have this new homepage. I hope you're excited to try it out. I think it makes everything a lot easier to manage and it's just so much nicer to look at when you're entering and logging into your Bcast account. As you can see, everything has stayed the same here with your personal profile. If I were to click on Clara, you can see that I have access to my account. This is where I can handle my billing. This is where I can handle any integrations that I've added, like Google Drive. If I want to log out, it's here. And if I want to change the language, I can go ahead and do that by clicking on the different languages here, and it'll change automatically. Now, The final part of this webinar that I wanted to focus on is our new help center. We have completely revamped our help center, and I think you're going to be pretty excited to see the changes. So, the first thing is if you're starting out on Bcast or want a quick tour of what's happening on Beekast, I really recommend you and to take a look at the quick tour of Beecast. So you can go ahead and do this by clicking on quick tour of Beecast. And as you can see, you'll get a 5 little step-by-step explanation of how to get started, how to create a session, how to add a slide and create an activity, how to share a session, and finally how to go to the results space and kind of export any results that you may need, PDF, Excel, or just a doc type of file. You also have in your help center access to our knowledge base. Now, our knowledge base is the ultimate place to find all of our articles related to the product. But what's great is our knowledge base has also been synced with this new help center. So if I want to look for example, how to create a word cloud, I could go ahead and type in word cloud and let it think a little bit and see, you'll automatically get the article that would be in the support um, that would be in the other or support library. So this is the article and it'll help you, it'll explain step by step how to create a word cloud activity, how to participate, how to edit it. So you'll get all of the information in one space. And that is basically our knowledge base being pooled into this help center. So make sure you can really use it as you see fit. And it's just a super helpful way to have all of the information that you need and to kind of answer any questions you may have directly in Bcast without having you leave and go to another article, another tab, or anything like that. So you'll get everything directly in your Bcast experience. Of course, if you wish to reach out to us if you want to upgrade change your billing or talk to a sales to get on a higher plan, you can go ahead and contact our sales team. If you want to give us any feedback or if you feel like you would like to have an interaction or a discussion with our product team, you can also meet with them. And of course, you can register for our training sessions. Our support team hosts weekly training sessions that you can sign up to in order to really understand the basics of Bcast. Speaking of Bcast basics, you also have a quick access here to the Bcast Academy. This is a great place to get started. You'll get webinars, training material to really have a self-paced and dedicated training session on Bcast. So it's a really great place if you're looking to build up your skills when it comes to Bcast. And we also have a certifiable course. So this is a course where at the end you will get a little certificate and a badge that you can share on LinkedIn and kind of differentiate yourself and be seen as a Bcast expert when it comes to the basics of Bcast. So this is also a great place to really share your knowledge on a tool that is in the end a pretty helpful tool that more and more people are using, different types of collaborative tools and skills that you can share on your personal or professional profile. Next, if you want to be kept in the loop on everything that's happening product wise in Bcast, then the new space is where you should be going. The new space is really a place where we'll give you all of our product updates, anything that you need to know about Bcast, how we're changing, what we're doing, all of the new changes that are happening. You can go ahead and click on it and you'll get access to everything that's changed in the past. So this is a great place to kind of stay up to date on what's changing in Bcast, what features have been impacted, what are the new rollouts that you should know about, etc. And then, if you wish to give feedback, this is a new space dedicated to you. We are always looking for feedback that the new homepage, some of these redesigns, they're only happening thanks to you. So we're always looking forward to kind of hearing any thoughts, suggestions, or ideas you may have. And this will be sent directly to our product team. So it's also a great space to kind of share with us any missing features or any needs that you may have along the way when you're using Bcast. So we're always looking forward to hearing about that. And what I recommend is just being careful. This is really a space for our product team. So if you have any bugs, if anything isn't working, if you're a little lost, or if you need help, then this would not be the space. You would need to contact our support team via the live chat. And so to contact our support team, this is going to be the live chat right here. It's the final little tab. When you click on chat, then the live chat will appear. And this is where you can go ahead and ask for help, ask all of your questions. You can also reach out and let our team know if you've seen anything that isn't working or is a little confusing to you. So that's the space to do that. And our support team is online and always ready to answer and reply as quickly as possible. All right, so that finishes it up for the little new space. And for the overall help center, as you can tell, these have been really major changes. The help center feels a lot easier to navigate. I think you'll get a lot more out of it in terms of our knowledge base being linked here. And of course, this beautifully designed homepage as well, which makes it a lot easier to get started on Beecast. I see that there aren't any questions, but I do see that I'm getting a couple. Okay, I'm getting a couple thumbs up. So I'm guessing that this everything makes sense and that people are excited about these new changes. I know I am. And I want to thank everyone for coming here today. Of course, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can contact your support team or you can contact me directly. I'll add my email right here. If you want to get in touch with us, we're always looking to get a little bit more information. There we go. I shared some like feedback forms in the live chat, so feel free to provide any feedback that you have. And once again, this webinar is being recorded. You'll get the replay by email, but you'll also be able to access all of our replays in our YouTube channel. So make sure to check that out as well. Thank you everyone for joining me today. It was my pleasure hosting these kind of webinars, and I look forward to hosting the next one very soon. We have a lot of exciting upcoming new features and product updates, so you'll see a lot more of these webinars in the weeks and months to come. Looking forward to it, and until then, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.